At the Interstellar Academy of Xenocultural Studies, gym class was never quiet. It was always loud, always moving, always full of strange sounds and stranger sights. Students from dozens of worlds trained together, each using their own bodies in ways that would seem impossible to outsiders. Some floated in midair using personal grav belts. Others stretched limbs twice their height to reach climbing holds, and a few even oozed slowly across the floor, leaving shimmering trails behind them. The air smelled like ozone sweat and the sharp tang of alien pheromones. The walls pulsed with soft bioluminescent light, adjusting to the mood of the room. Today that mood was restless. Coach Vrick stood at the center of it all, arms crossed, 4 eyes scanning the chaos. He was a Cathari, broad-shouldered and scaled, with thick plates along his spine and a voice that rumbled like distant thunder. He'd taught combat conditioning, zero-G agility, and interspecies teamwork for over 30 cycles. He'd seen warriors from molten lava worlds and scholars from ice moons, but nothing prepared him for what walked through the gym doors that morning. The room didn't go silent all at once. It happened in waves. First, the avian students from Sirius VI stopped flapping their wings midair and landed with soft thuds. Then the gelatinous zenthers pulled their forms inward, becoming dense and still. The insectoid Threllians froze mid-stride, antennae twitching. Even the floating orbs from Proxima B dimmed their inner glow. One by one, every student turned toward the entrance. A human girl stepped inside. She was tall for her species, but not unusually so. Her dark hair was tied back in a simple ponytail, and her academy uniform, a gray tunic and black pants, fit her like it had been worn 1,000 times before. There was no armor, no tech, no visible enhancements, just a girl. But the way she moved, that was different. She didn't shuffle or rush. She walked with a quiet certainty, like someone who had faced worse than a room full of aliens and lived to tell about it. Her name was Luna Ellis. She transferred in just 3 days ago from Soltherding, Earth. Most students had only heard rumors about that place. They called it a death world, not because it was dying, but because everything on it seemed designed to kill you. Predators with claws and teeth, storms that could level cities, oceans full of creatures that dragged ships under, and a sun that burned without mercy. Yet humans didn't just survive there. They thrived. They climbed mountains made of ice, dived into trenches deeper than thought, and ran for miles just to feel their hearts pound. To the rest of the galaxy, that made them unpredictable, dangerous, fascinating. Luna didn't look at the crowd. She kept her eyes forward, her expression calm. But her hands, those were telling. They were calloused, scarred in places, and moved with a kind of quiet readiness, like they knew how to grip a weapon or break a fall. She stopped near the equipment rack and waited. Coach Vrix grunted, stepping forward. "Ellis, you're late." "Traffic in the hydro tubes," she said simply. He snorted. "You walked." "Still took 20 minutes. Someone's pet slime blocked level 4. A few students exchanged glances. Only a human would call a Class 3 biopet slime like it was nothing. Vrix clapped his upper hands together. "All right, listen up. Today's drill is the zero-G obstacle course. We're testing endurance, spatial awareness, and controlled momentum. Pairs only. No weapons, no external aids. You've got 10 minutes to complete the circuit. Fastest time wins extra rations." Groans and chirps rose from the group. The course was brutal. Floating platforms, spinning rings, laser tripwires that delivered mild shocks, and a final climb up a magnetic wall that shifted every 30 seconds. It was meant to simulate emergency egress from a damaged starship. Most species struggled with it. Humans, with their weak bones and limited senses, usually failed. But no one said that out loud, not with Luna standing there. As teams formed, no one approached her. She didn't seem to mind. She just stood by the edge of the course, watching the others. Then, from her satchel, which looked like it had been patched with duct tape and hope, a soft sound came. A low rumbling purr like a cat mixed with a furnace. Every head turned again. Luna reached into the bag and lifted out a small creature. It was about the size of a house cat, covered in smooth black scales that shimmered under the lights. Its wings were folded tight against its back, and its tail curled gently around her wrist. Its eyes, golden, slit-pupiled, ancient, blinked slowly as it surveyed the room. A Threllian student dropped his hydration bladder. It burst on the floor with a wet slap. That's a Drakthul," whispered a Floran girl, her petal-like hair trembling. "They're extinct. The last one died in the Void Wars." "Not extinct," Luna said softly. "Just rare." She scratched under the creature's chin, and it leaned into her touch, purring louder. "This is Ember." He's shy, shy. The word hung in the air like a joke. This thing looked like it could melt steel with a breath. Its claws tapped against Luna's forearm, leaving faint sparks where they touched metal buckles. Coach Vrix took a slow step back. Ellis, is that thing safe? Only if you don't threaten me, she said, not unkindly. He reads intent, not species. Ember turned his head toward the Threllian who'd dropped his drink. The alien flinched, but Ember just yawned, showing tiny rows of needle-like teeth, then nestled closer to Luna's chest. Vrix rubbed his scaled brow. Right, well, Ellis, you'll be on your own for the drill. No partner. And keep Ember off the course. I don't need melted platforms, Luna nodded. Understood. As the first pair launched into the zero-G zone, the room buzzed with nervous energy. Students kept glancing at Luna, then at Ember, then back again. Some recorded discreetly with Riscom lenses. Others whispered in their native tongues. One young Cathari cadet asked his friend if humans really ate fire for breakfast. His friend said no, but they did drink something called coffee that could wake the dead. Luna ignored them all. She watched the course, studying the patterns. The spinning rings rotated clockwise every 15 seconds. The laser grid reset every minute. The magnetic wall shifted in a sequence. Left, up, right, down, predictable, manageable. When it was her turn, she handed Ember to Maya, the Florin girl who'd spoken earlier. Maya hesitated, then took the small dragon with trembling hands. Ember blinked at her, then curled into a warm, scaly ball. He likes you, Luna said. He's warm, Maya whispered, eyes wide. Luna stepped onto the launch pad. The gravity field dimmed. She floated up weightless. For a moment, she hung there still as stone. Then she moved. She didn't flail or kick like the others. She pushed off with one hand, twisted midair, and caught the first ring as it spun toward her. Her body followed the motion like water, flowing from one obstacle to the next. She dodged lasers by inches, used the momentum of a falling platform to swing herself upward, and when the magnetic wall activated, she ran up it like it was solid ground, fingers finding holds no one else could see. Halfway through, a Threllian student, Kale, deliberately bumped the control panel. The wall shifted early. Luna's foot slipped. The crowd gasped, but she didn't fall. She twisted in midair, grabbed a loose cable, and swung herself onto the final platform in one smooth motion. The timer stopped. 3 minutes and 42 seconds. A new Academy record. Silence. Then, slow claps from Coach Vrix. The others followed, hesitant at first, then louder. Even Kale looked stunned. Luna landed lightly on the mat, breathing steady, not even winded. She took Ember back from Maya, who was grinning now. You were amazing, Maya said. Luna just shrugged. It's just gym class. But everyone knew it wasn't. To them, it was proof. Proof that the rumors were true. That humans weren't just survivors. They were something else entirely. Something the galaxy hadn't seen in a long time. As the class ended and students filed out, whispering and glancing back, Luna stayed behind, stretching her legs near the edge of the course. Ember curled around her neck like a living scarf, eyes half closed. Coach Vrix approached. You didn't have to go that hard. I didn't go hard, she said. That was easy. He studied her for a long moment. Earth must be something else. It's home, she replied, and in that simple word, he heard everything, the storms, the silence, the courage, the weight of a world that never stopped trying to kill its children, and the children who never stopped fighting back. Outside, the twin suns of the Academy's planet dipped below the horizon. Inside, a human girl and her dragon waited for the next challenge. They didn't know it yet, but the galaxy was about to learn what Deathworlder really meant. Next morning, the Academy buzzed with talk of Luna Ellis. In the mess hall, students huddled over nutrient trays, replaying the zero-G drill on their wrist screens. In the corridors, whispers followed her like shadows. Some called her a freak. Others called her a legend. Most just watched from a distance, eyes wide, voices low. No one dared sit near her at lunch. No one except Maya. Maya was small for a Florin, her leafy hair still soft with youth, her bioluminescent freckles dimming whenever she felt shy. She carried her tray with trembling hands and set it down across from Luna without asking. Luna looked up surprised but didn't say anything. She just nodded and went back to eating her protein loaf. Ember lay coiled on the bench beside her, eyes closed, tail flicking gently. He hadn't made a sound since they entered the hall, but his presence alone made the nearby tables empty, faster than a fire alarm. He really likes you, Maya said after a long silence. Luna chewed slowly. He likes honesty. You don't pretend to be something you're not. Maya blushed, her freckles glowing faintly pink. I was scared of you yesterday. I know. But you didn't act like it bothered you. Luna shrugged. Fear's normal. Earth's full of things that should scare you. Lions, bears, hurricanes, even other humans sometimes. You learn to live with it, or you don't live at all. Maya stared at her. Do you ever get scared? Sure, Luna said. But I don't let it stop me. Ember opened one golden eye and looked at Maya. Then he stretched, yawned, and hopped onto the table. Students nearby flinched. A Zenthar spilled its broth, but Ember just nudged Maya's hand with his snout. She gasped. He wants me to pet him. Go ahead, Luna said. Just be gentle. Maya reached out slowly. Her fingers brushed his scales. They were warm, smooth, and pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. Ember purred, a deep rumbling sound that vibrated through the table. He's not like the stories, Maya whispered. They say Drakthals burn whole cities. Stories get twisted, Luna said. Ember's not a weapon. He's a friend. His kind bonded with humans long before we left Earth. They chose us. Not the other way around. Why? Because we're stubborn, Luna said with a small smile. And we don't give up, even when we should. After lunch, they walked together to xenobiology class. Ember rode on Luna's shoulder. Wings tucked, eyes scanning the halls. Other students parted like water before them. Even the Threllian guards at the science wing stood straighter as they passed. Professor Nile, a soft-spoken cephalopod with 8 arms and a voice like wind through reeds, greeted them at the door. Miss Ellis, and your companion. Please take the front bench. We're studying symbiotic bonds today. The class fell silent as Luna sat. Ember curled around her neck like a living scarf. Professor Nile activated the holoscreen. Images of ancient Earth appeared, forests, mountains, oceans. Then came footage of early human settlements, followed by cave paintings showing small winged creatures beside hunters. The Drakthal were thought to be myth, the professor said, legends from a pre-spacefaring age. But recent digs on Mars uncovered fossilized scales matching Drakthal DNA. And now, we have living proof. All eyes turned to Ember. Miss Ellis, the professor asked gently, would you mind sharing how you came to bond with him? Luna hesitated. Then she spoke, voice low but clear. I was 8. My village was in the Pacific Northwest. Rain, trees taller than starships, rivers full of silver fish. One night, a storm hit. Not just rain. Lightning, wind, trees falling like matchsticks. I got separated from my family. Wandered into the woods. That's when I found him. She paused, fingers brushing Ember's spine. He was hurt. Wing-torn, scales cracked. Barely breathing. I carried him home in my coat. My grandmother said to leave him. He was wild, dangerous. But I couldn't. So I fed him broth, wrapped his wing, stayed up all night talking to him so he wouldn't feel alone. Ember nuzzled her cheek. By morning, he was stronger. By week's end, he could fly short distances. By month's end, he never left my side. We grew up together. When the off-world scouts came looking for candidates to join the academy, he came with me. Academy rules say no pets, but they made an exception. A student raised a hand. Is he tame? Luna shook her head. He's not tame. He's loyal. There's a difference. Professor Nile nodded slowly. Loyalty is rare in the galaxy. Most bonds are based on utility or fear. Yours seems deeper. It is, Luna said simply. After class, Maya walked with her to the training yard. The suns were high, casting long shadows across the synthetic grass. Luna stretched, rolling her shoulders. Ember hopped down and began chasing a floating pollen drone, batting it with his claws like it was a toy. Do you train him? Maya asked. Not really, Luna said. He trains me. He knows when I'm pushing too hard, when I'm holding back, when I'm lying to myself. He's honest. As if on cue, Ember stopped playing and turned toward the main gate. His ears perked. His tail stiffened. Luna followed his gaze. KL stood there, flanked by 2 other Threllians. His 6 limbs were tense, his frills flared in a show of dominance. He'd been humiliated in gym class, and now he wanted to fix that. Ellis, he called, voice sharp. You think you're special because you ran a course fast and carry a pet lizard? Luna didn't move. I don't think I'm special. I just showed up. Then show up for a real fight, Kale said, stepping forward. Hand to hand. No tech, no tricks. Just you and me. In the combat ring, tomorrow. The yard fell quiet. Even the wind seemed to stop. Maya grabbed Luna's arm. Don't do it. He's trained in Threlian pressure point combat. He can shut down your nervous system with one touch. Luna looked at her. And I've been wrestling grizzly bears since I was 10. Maya's eyes widened. You're joking. Nope. Ember growled low in his throat, a sound like stones grinding together. Smoke curled from his nostrils. Kale laughed, but it was forced. Bring your pet if you want. See if it helps when you're on the ground gasping for air. He turned and walked away, his friends following. Maya turned to Luna, worried. You're not really going to fight him, are you? He challenged me, Luna said. On Earth, you don't ignore a challenge. It shows weakness, and weakness gets you killed. But this isn't Earth. It is now, Luna said quietly. That evening in the dormitory, Luna sat cross-legged on her bed. Ember lay in her lap, scales glowing faintly in the dim light. She ran her fingers over his back, feeling the steady thrum of his breath. You don't have to do this, a voice said from the doorway. Luna looked up. Coach Vrick stood there, arms crossed, expression unreadable. He's faster than you, Vrick said. Stronger. 6 limbs means 6 points of attack. You've got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a lot of pride. Pride's not why I'm doing it, Luna said. Then why? Because if I back down, they'll think humans are soft, that we only win because of luck or gadgets. But we don't. We win because we keep going, even when it hurts, even when we're scared. Vrix was silent for a long time. Then he sighed. Fine. But if you're going to fight, fight smart. Threlians rely on speed and precision. They hate chaos. So give them chaos. He tossed her a small device. This is a sonic emitter, set to low frequency. It won't hurt anyone, but it'll mess with their inner ear balance for a few seconds, enough to create an opening. Luna caught it. I don't need it. Humans always say that, Vrix muttered. Then they get carried out on stretchers. He turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth. I believe you. About Earth. About your kind. But belief won't stop a Threlian elbow to your throat. After he left, Luna placed the emitter on her desk. She didn't plan to use it, not because she was proud, but because she knew something Kale didn't. On Earth, humans didn't just fight with bodies. They fought with minds, with patience, with silence. And tomorrow she would show him what silence could do. Ember looked up at her, eyes gleaming. We've got this, she whispered. Outside, the twin moons rose over the academy spires. Somewhere in the distance, a training drone whirred. The stars watched as they always did, waiting to see what the girl from the Deathworld would do next. In the quiet of her room, Luna closed her eyes and remembered the forests of home, the smell of wet pine, the sound of wolves howling in the dark, the feel of cold earth under her bare feet. She remembered running for hours just to see if she could. She remembered falling, bleeding, getting back up. She wasn't here to prove she was strong. She was here to remind the galaxy that strength isn't about claws or wings or extra limbs. It's about heart, and humans had more of that than anyone knew. The combat ring sat at the heart of the Academy's training complex, a circular platform of reinforced alloy surrounded by tiered seating. By midday, every seat was filled. Students from every species pressed close, whispering, recording, watching. Even faculty members stood along the upper rails, arms crossed, expressions unreadable. Word had spread fast. A human girl was facing Kale in open combat. No rules beyond Academy safety limits. No weapons. Just flesh, bone, and will. Kale arrived first, striding in with his usual swagger. His 6 limbs flexed in warm-up stretches. His frills flared wide to show off his vibrant blue markings, a sign of high status among Threlians. He smirked at the crowd, bowing slightly, feeding off their energy. He'd trained since hatching in the martial arts of his people. He knew pressure points, nerve clusters, joint locks that could disable an opponent in seconds. He saw Luna not as a threat, but as a chance to restore his pride. Then she walked in. No fanfare, no music. Just Luna Ellis in her standard Academy tunic, sleeves rolled to her elbows, hair tied back. Ember wasn't with her. She'd left him in her room, though she'd felt his worry like a warmth in her chest before she left. She didn't need him here. This was her fight. She stepped onto the ring. The alloy floor hummed under her boots. Kale circled her, eyes sharp, limbs coiled like springs. Last chance to back out, he said, voice low enough that only she could hear. I don't want to hurt you much. Luna didn't answer. She just took a slow breath, settled her weight, and dropped into a stance, knees bent, hands loose, eyes steady. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't alien. It was human, simple, Ready. The referee, a neutral Vornian with no limbs and a voice like static, announced the start. Kale moved first. Fast. So fast most eyes couldn't follow. One moment he was 10 feet away. The next his lower right arm shot toward Luna's throat, but she wasn't there. She'd shifted half a step left, letting his limb whistle past her ear. Before he could reset, she grabbed his wrist, twisted, and used his own momentum to throw him sideways. The crowd gasped. Kale hit the floor hard but rolled instantly to his feet, surprise flashing in his eyes. Lucky dodge. He came again, this time with all 6 limbs in motion. 2 fainting high, 2 sweeping low, 2 ready to strike. It was a classic Threllian storm pattern designed to overwhelm. Most opponents panicked, flailed, opened themselves up. Luna didn't panic. She stayed still for a heartbeat, then dropped flat to the ground, sliding between his legs like water. As she passed, she hooked one of his support limbs and yanked. Kale stumbled, off balance for just a second. But a second was all she needed. She sprang up behind him, locked one arm around his neck, and drove her elbow into the base of his spine. Not hard enough to break. Academy rules forbade permanent injury, but enough to make his frills flatten in pain. He roared, twisting violently, breaking her hold. He spun, eyes blazing. "You fight like a cornered rat." "And you talk too much," Luna said. This time, she attacked. To the crowd it looked chaotic, messy, human. No elegant forms, no flowing sequences. Just short, sharp movements, jabs to the ribs, kicks to the knee joints, palm strikes to the solar plexus. She didn't try to match his speed. She cut it off. Every time he lunged, she was already moving to where he'd be weak. Every time he tried to trap her, she slipped through like smoke. Coach Vrix watched from the front row, arms crossed. He'd seen footage of earth martial arts, Krav Maga, boxing, wrestling, but this wasn't any of them. This was something else. This was survival. The kind of fighting born not in dojos but in alleys, forests, and frozen tundras where losing meant dying. Kale was tiring. His movements grew heavier, his breaths louder. Threllians relied on bursts of speed, not endurance. Luna, meanwhile, seemed to move more smoothly with every passing second. Her breathing stayed even. Her eyes never left him. Then came the opening. Kyle overextended, throwing a wide hook with his upper left arm. Luna ducked under it, stepped inside his guard, and drove her shoulder into his chest. As he staggered back, she swept his legs, dropped on his back, and pinned both his primary arms with her knees. One hand locked around his throat, not choking, just holding. The other pressed between his shoulder blades. "Tap out," she said calmly. Kale struggled, but her weight was perfectly placed. He couldn't move without risking a dislocated joint. His frills drooped. His breath came in ragged bursts. The referee hovered closer. "Do you yield?" Kyle hesitated. Pride warred with pain. Then slowly, he tapped the floor twice with a free limb. The crowd erupted, not in boos, not in cheers, but in stunned silence. Then a slow, rising wave of applause. Even the Threllian students clapped, though their faces were tight with disbelief. Luna stood, offering Kale a hand. He stared at it for a long moment. Then grudgingly, he took it. She pulled him up with ease. "You fight dirty," he muttered. "I fight smart," she corrected. "On Earth, pretty moves don't feed your family. Surviving does." He didn't answer, but he didn't look away either. As they stepped off the ring, students parted for them. Not out of fear now, but respect. Maya rushed forward, eyes shining. "You did it?" Luna shrugged. "He's good. Just not used to humans." Coach Vrix approached, holding a small med kit. "You didn't use the emitter." "Didn't need it. You could have been hurt. I was ready." He studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. "You're not just a student, Ellis. You're a lesson." Back in her dorm, Ember waited by the door. As soon as she entered, he leapt into her arms, nuzzling her neck, purring so loud it filled the room. She sank onto her bed, finally letting the tension leave her shoulders. Maya followed her in, still buzzing with excitement. "Everyone's talking about you. They say you moved like wind, like shadow." "I moved like a person who didn't want to get hit," Luna said, smiling faintly. "But you made Kale tap. No one's ever done that. Someone probably has. They just didn't tell stories about it." Maya sat beside her, quiet for a while. Then she asked, "Why do you do it, Luna? Why come here, fight, show off your strength?" Luna looked at Ember, who was now curled in her lap, eyes half closed. "I'm not showing off. I'm showing truth. The galaxy thinks humans are weak because we're small, soft, short-lived. But we're not weak. We're adaptable. We learn. We endure. We care for each other even when it's hard. She paused. My grandmother used to say the strongest trees grow in the harshest winds. Earth is that wind. And we're the trees. Maya's freckles glowed soft gold. I think you're the strongest tree I've ever met. Luna laughed, a rare, warm sound. I'm just a girl with a dragon and a long way from home. But even as she said it, she knew it wasn't true. She wasn't just a girl. She was a symbol now, whether she wanted to be or not. Later that night, as the academy lights dimmed to night cycle, Luna stood by her window, looking up at the stars. Ember rested on the sill beside her, wings slightly spread, catching the cool air. Somewhere out there, Earth spun in silence, blue, green, wild, and beautiful, full of danger and wonder, full of people who woke before dawn to run, who climbed cliffs with bare hands, who stared into storms and refused to blink. She missed it deeply, but she also knew why she was here, not to prove humans were better, but to prove they belonged. The galaxy was vast, strange, and often cruel, but so was Earth. And if humans could thrive there, they could thrive anywhere. Ember leaned against her arm, warm and solid. We're doing okay, she whispered. And in the quiet dark, with stars watching and a dragon at her side, Luna Ellis felt for the first time like she wasn't alone. Days passed and the academy settled into a new rhythm. Luna Ellis was no longer just the human girl from the death world. She was something else now, a quiet presence that drew eyes without trying, a name spoken with a mix of awe and curiosity. Students who once avoided her now lingered near her in the halls, not to challenge her but to watch, to learn. Some even left small gifts outside her dorm, a polished moonstone from the Zenthars, a woven vine bracelet from the Florans, a data chip filled with ancient earth music from a shy Syrian cadet. But Luna didn't change. She still ate alone unless Maya joined her. She still trained before dawn, running laps around the outer rim of the academy until her boots were caked with red dust. She still spoke only when needed, and never bragged about the fight with Kale. If anything, she seemed quieter, as if carrying a weight no one else could see. Ember stayed close. He slept curled at the foot of her bed, walked beside her in the halls, and during classes he perched on her shoulder like a silent guardian. His golden eyes missed nothing. He watched the way Kale now nodded to Luna in the corridors, not with pride but with respect. He noticed how the younger students mimicked her stance during drills. He felt the shift in the air, a change from fear to something softer, something like hope. One evening, after lights out, Luna sat on the roof of the East Wing. It was her favorite place. No one came here. The wind was strong, the stars clear, and below the academy sprawled like a sleeping beast. She leaned against the railing, arms crossed, staring at the twin moons. Ember lay beside her, tail wrapped around her ankle. You're thinking about home again, a voice said. Luna didn't turn. Maya, you shouldn't be out here, curfew. Neither should you, Maya said, stepping closer. Her leafy hair shimmered in the moonlight and her freckles glowed faintly blue, her calm color. She sat beside Luna, hugging her knees. I saw you leave the dorm. You looked sad. Not sad, Luna said, just remembering. Tell me about Earth, Maya said softly. Luna was quiet for a long time. Then she spoke. It's loud. Always loud. Birds in the morning, crickets at night, rain on the roof, wind through the trees. Even the silence has sound. The hum of insects, the crack of ice on a lake. Nothing is ever truly still. Is it beautiful? Yes. And terrible. Sometimes in the same breath. You can stand on a mountain and feel like you own the world. Then a storm rolls in and you're just trying not to freeze to death. Maya smiled. That sounds like life. It is, Luna said. On Earth, you don't get to hide from life. It comes for you. Every day. You learn to meet it. Ember lifted his head and looked at Maya. Then he stretched, walked over and nudged her hand with his snout. She laughed. He really does like me. He sees your heart, Luna said. You're kind, even when you're scared. I was scared of you at first, Maya admitted. I thought you were dangerous. Like a weapon. I'm not a weapon, Luna said. I'm a person. Just like you, I bleed. I get tired. I miss my family. The only difference is, I was raised to believe that fear isn't a stop sign. It's a signal. It means pay attention, not run away. Maya was silent for a while. Then she asked, Do you ever wish you weren't so strong? Luna looked at her, surprised. Why would I wish that? because everyone expects things from you now. They watch you. They lean on you. They think you can't break. Luna smiled faintly. Everyone breaks, Maya, even me. But on Earth, we learn to mend ourselves. With time, with help, with stubbornness. She reached out and gently touched one of Maya's glowing freckles. You're stronger than you think, too. You just show it differently. You care, you listen. You stay when others run. That's its own kind of courage. Ember purred. A deep, comforting sound that wrapped around them like a blanket. Below, the academy lights flickered as night cycle deepened. Somewhere a maintenance drone hummed. The stars burned cold and distant. I want to be brave like you, Maya whispered. You already are, Luna said. You just don't know it yet. They sat in silence for a long time, watching the sky. No words were needed. Just presence. Just trust. The next morning, during Xenohistory class, Professor Nile announced a surprise drill. Today we simulate emergency evacuation during a hull breach. You'll be placed in teams of 3. Your goal is to reach the safe zone in under 8 minutes using only the tools in your emergency kits. No comms, no outside help. Students groaned. The drill was infamous. Dark corridors, shifting gravity fields, fake debris, and simulated oxygen loss. It tested not just speed, but teamwork under stress. Teams were assigned randomly. Luna found herself paired with Maya, and Kyle looked as surprised as she was. He met her eyes, then gave a short nod. No words, just acknowledgement. The drill began in Sector 7, a maze of narrow halls and flickering lights. Alarms blared. Red strobes flashed. The air grew thin, triggering the body's panic response. Stick close, Luna said, voice calm. Maya, take point. You're small. You can see gaps in debris. Kale, cover the rear. Watch for falling panels. They moved fast. Maya scurried ahead, her Florin eyes adjusting to the dark. Kale used his extra limbs to brace unstable walls. Luna led from the middle, reading the layout like a map in her mind. Halfway through, a ceiling panel collapsed, blocking their path. Oxygen levels dropped further. Maya coughed. We're trapped, Kale said, voice tight. Luna scanned the room. Not trapped. Delayed. She spotted a maintenance hatch overhead. Kale, boost Maya up. She can open it. Kale hesitated, then locked his limbs together, forming a platform. Maya climbed, pried the hatch open, and wriggled through. Seconds later, she lowered a rope made from torn emergency fabric. They pulled themselves up just as the corridor below sealed shut with a hiss. In the next chamber, gravity shifted sideways. They had to crawl along the wall like insects. Kale's extra limbs gave him an advantage, but Maya struggled. Luna tied a line around her waist and guided her step by step. You're doing great, Luna said. Just keep breathing. Kale watched them, something shifting in his expression. He'd always believed strength was physical. Speed, power, dominance. But here, in the dark, with air thinning and time running out, it was Luna's calm, Maya's quick thinking, and his own willingness to follow that kept them alive. They reached the safe zone with 30 seconds to spare. Coach Vrick stood at the exit, arms crossed. Not bad. For a Deathworlder, a Leaf Girl, and a Threllian with bruised pride. Kale actually laughed. A real laugh. After the drill, the 3 of them sat in the recovery bay, sipping nutrient broth. No one spoke at first. Then Kale said, You didn't have to trust me back there. I did, Luna said. Because you earned it. He looked down. I was wrong about you. Everyone's wrong sometimes, she said. What matters is what you do after. Maya smiled, her freckles glowing warm yellow. We make a good team. The best, Luna agreed. That night back on the roof, Luna felt lighter. Ember curled in her lap, eyes half closed. The stars seemed closer somehow. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was connecting, and in a galaxy full of strangers. That was its own kind of victory. The Galactic Youth Trials arrived with fanfare. Ships from a dozen star systems docked at the Academy's orbital station, their hulls gleaming under the twin suns. Delegations in ceremonial robes marched through the main plaza, banners fluttering, honor guards standing tall. The trials were more than a competition. They were a showcase of the galaxy's finest young minds and bodies, a chance to prove one's species worthy of respect, resources, and recognition. This year's final event was the rescue simulation, a mock disaster aboard a derelict freighter caught in an asteroid field. Teams had to navigate zero gravity, failing life support, and unstable power cores to extract 3 survivors, advanced training droids programmed to mimic injury and panic. The clock started the moment they boarded. Fastest clean extraction won. Luna wasn't on any official team. Humans had no delegation, no banner. No one expected her to compete. But when the roster was posted, her name appeared beside Maya's and Kale's. Coach Vrix had entered them as a wildcard squad. Team Soul 3, students whispered. Some scoffed. Others watched with quiet hope. The day of the event, Luna wore her standard academy gear. No modifications, no upgrades. Ember stayed behind this time, not because he wasn't allowed, but because she knew this mission needed focus, not firepower. She carried only a basic tool belt and a comms earpiece. Maya adjusted her biosuit, fingers trembling slightly. Kale checked his limb seals, expression grim but steady. They stood at the boarding ramp, the derelict freighter looming ahead like a ghost ship. "Remember," Luna said, voice low. "This isn't about speed. It's about control. Stay calm. Trust each other." Kale nodded. "You lead. We follow." The hatch opened. They stepped inside. Darkness. Silence. The air smelled of burnt wiring and stale coolant. Emergency lights flickered red. Gravity was off. They tethered themselves together with magnetic lines and moved as one unit. Sector by sector, they cleared the ship. Maya used her Florin senses to detect heat signatures through walls, finding the first survivor trapped under collapsed plating. Kale used his strength and extra limbs to lift the debris while Luna stabilized the droid's injuries with field wraps. They moved fast but quiet, like shadows. In the engine room, they found the second survivor near a ruptured coolant pipe. Frost coated the walls. Maya's breath fogged in the air. Kale's joints stiffened in the cold. But Luna didn't hesitate. She rerouted power from a dead console to activate a local heater, buying them time. Then she carried the droid on her back while Kale secured the pipe with emergency foam. They were halfway through when the real crisis hit. A maintenance drone, meant to simulate debris, malfunctioned. Its plasma core, designed to pulse safely, began overheating. Alarms blared. Red lights flashed faster. The core's casing glowed cherry red, then white. If it blew, the blast would breach the hull and kill everyone inside. Panic surged through the comms channel. Other teams began evacuating. "We have to go," Maya said, voice shaking. Luna stared at the core, then at her friends. "No, we finished the mission." "That thing's going to explode," Kale said. "Not if we stop it." She turned to Maya. "You know thermal regulation better than anyone. Can you cool it long enough for me to access the control node?" Maya swallowed hard. I think so, but I'll need direct contact, and it'll burn me. Then I'll shield you," Kale said before Luna could speak. "My scales can take high heat for short bursts." Luna looked at them both. "This is dangerous." "So is Earth," Maya said, meeting her eyes. "You taught us that fear isn't a stop sign." Luna nodded. "Then let's move." Kale positioned himself between Maya and the core, spreading his limbs to form a living barrier. Maya pressed her hands against his back, channeling her natural biocooling through him. Frost spread across his scales. Steam hissed into the air. Luna sprinted toward the core, tool in hand. The heat seared her skin, even through her suit. She ignored it, focused, found the access panel, pried it open with bare fingers. Sparks flew. Her gloves melted. Inside, the wiring was a mess, overloaded, fused, sparking. But she'd seen worse. Back home, kids fixed broken generators with chewing gum and hope. She traced the main circuit, found the feedback loop, and with quick, precise cuts, rerouted the energy into a dead capacitor bank. The core's glow dimmed. The alarm stopped. Silence. Then a soft chime. The third survivor's signal activated nearby. They found the last droid in the command deck, pinned under a fallen console. Together, all three of them lifted it, Luna on one side, Kale bracing with 4 limbs, Maya guiding the droid's head to prevent spinal injury. They carried it to the extraction point just as the timer hit 7 minutes and 23 seconds. When they stepped out of the freighter, the crowd was silent. Then someone clapped, then another. Then the whole plaza erupted in cheers. Coach Vrix stood at the front, arms crossed, but his eyes gleamed. Professor Nile wiped a tear from one of his many eyes. Even the stern judges from the High Council nodded in approval. Later, in the award hall, no medals were given to Team Soul Theory. Humans had no official standing. But the head judge, an ancient Vornian elder, approached Luna anyway. "You saved lives today," the elder said, voice like dry leaves. "Not just droids. Your friends. Your honor. You showed what unity looks like in chaos." Luna bowed her head. "We just did what needed doing." That, the elder said, is the rarest thing in the galaxy. After the ceremony, Maya found Luna on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Ember was with her now, curled around her shoulders, purring softly. "They're calling us heroes," Maya said, joining her at the rail. "We're not heroes," Luna said. "We're just people who didn't look away. But you could have left. When the core failed, you could have run, and let everyone die." Luna shook her head. "On Earth, we say if you can help, you do. No matter how small you are, no matter how scared you feel." Maya leaned against her. "I used to think strength was about power. Now I know it's about choice. You choose to care. You choose to stay." Ember nuzzled Maya's hand, then looked up at Luna with golden eyes full of quiet pride. Below, the academy lights shimmered like a field of fireflies. Above, the stars burned steady and cold. Luna thought of home, of forests thick with mist, of oceans that roared like dragons, of cities built on fault lines and dreams. She thought of her grandmother's hands, rough from work, gentle in comfort. She thought of running barefoot through snow just to feel alive. She missed it, deeply, but she also knew something now. Earth hadn't sent her here to prove humans were strong. It had sent her to remind the galaxy that strength isn't about claws or wings or fire. It's about heart. It's about showing up. It's about saying, "I'll help," when everyone else says, "It's not my problem." As the twin moons rose over the spires, Luna placed a hand on Ember's head and another on Maya's shoulder. "We did good," she said. "We did," Maya agreed. And in that moment, under alien stars with a dragon at her side and a friend beside her, Luna Ellis knew she wasn't just representing Earth. She was building a new kind of home, one where fear didn't rule, where differences didn't divide, and where even the smallest act of courage could change everything. The galaxy was watching, and for the first time, it wasn't looking at humans with fear. It was looking with hope.